flat earth theory, which is based on the Dunning-Kruger effect and is something that pops up every so often throughout history, this time round by the Russian KGB, put on Yugoslavian TV and the early ARPANET during the 90s. It is a great topic to study and discuss for many reasons, but imagine what a flat earth solar eclipse or diagonal growing trees or the Great Wall of Ice would look like, guarded by NASA of course. Flat earthers have a great imagination, but what if they were actually right in what they are saying? How would the earth hold up in space? Would it revolve around the sun, or would the sun orbit around it? And why would we never be able to walk to the earth's edge? So here is what would happen if the earth was flat. The leading flat earth theory holds that the earth is a disk with an Arctic Circle in the centre, and Antarctica is surrounded by a 150-foot tall wall of ice. NASA employees, they say, guard this ice wall to prevent people from climbing over and falling off the disk, which is very nice of them. Then Nicholas Copernicus came along and said the earth is a sphere. The belief that the earth is flat has been described as the ultimate conspiracy theory, and humans are not told. Over 5 million scientists who understand how the universe works down to the smallest molecule must either be lying or have been brainwashed by the science community to believe the earth is round. All of this came from the KGB Operation Infection in the early 90s via means of broadcasting it on Yugoslavian and Soviet bloc states. But how would this even work? Do you know how planets form in a spherical shape? One word: gravity. Gravity, an illusion of the universe's entropic information, is giving us the impression it is pulling matter together equally in all sides, and as a result, matter forms in a sphere. This would not be possible on a flat earth, but flat earthers, without demonstrating they understand what it is they claim it doesn't exist, then claim a mysterious force as a result of the earth being pulled down through space is creating the effect of gravity. I don't need to tell you this, but this fall fails to address many problems, and you can't increase speed forever, as eventually it would burn out. If we were on a flat earth with this effect, it would be strange in many ways. The centre of gravity would be in the centre, and everything from around would be pulled into this centre point. The further away from the earth you got, the stronger the pull would be, and at some point it would begin to pull you down, and the pull would get stronger, and you would need to have to start climbing to get anywhere. There is also the belief that no one has ever been to Antarctica, even though there is 1,000 people living there in science facilities during the winter and 4,000 during summer. There's even a cash point if you need to run to the shop for the munchies. 235 people have climbed the 7 summits, over 1,200 have climbed Mount Vincent, the highest mountain in Antarctica, and 172 expeditions have travelled from sea to sea on Antarctica, including my uncle. Even after providing people with this evidence, they still continue to make these claims without providing anything of substance in return. But at least we wouldn't fall off the earth, hey? There would also be other side effects. If we lived on a flat earth, gravity would pull objects to one side instead of down. And gravity would also make trees grow diagonally in one way to counteract gravity's pull. Place a plant pot and light going in one direction in a dark room and you will prove this for yourself. All the rain, snow and hail would fall towards the Arctic at the centre of the earth. Precipitation would converge and start to build up. Oceans would get sucked into the ocean too, creating a big bulge in the centre. A big concern would also be the air pressure on a flat earth. Gravity would be pulling it all to the centre of the earth, leaving the areas around the edge with no air pressure at all, and places like Australia would have no oxygen. If you lived in the centre, you would be crushed by the weight of the atmosphere. The earth wouldn't have a geomagnetic field around us. This field is generated by movements of the earth's core, but a flat earth wouldn't have one. Nothing wouldn't be holding our atmosphere into space, and eventually it would just float away. We would be exposed to many forms of radiation, no breathable air anywhere on the planet, but people say that there is a firmament and glass dome covering the earth to protect us from this. So let's get to the real questions we have all been waiting for. What would orbit what in this situation? Would there be day and night cycles or time zones? Every flat earther knows that the sun goes round the earth in a cycle around a flat pancake-shaped earth, and so does the moon. They are both about 50 miles in diameter and act like a huge spotlight in the firmament. If the sun worked as a spotlight, you would be able to see it from any point on the earth, even if it didn't directly shine on you. There would be no night or day, and the sun wouldn't go down below the horizon every day in every part of the world in this system, and there would be no sleep patterns. For the flat earth to provide anywhere near the amount of energy it currently provides, the sun would have to orbit the planet this way. When the sun was up there, the entire earth would experience daylight, and when the sun went below, you would get night times. There would be no time zones and no seasons either, but you could still stay up late and watch movies. It's claimed the sun is so much smaller than the earth, according to flat earthers. If the sun retained its size as it was orbiting the flat earth, it would burn the entire planet as it got near to us. And if the sun was much smaller than what it is now, we would freeze to death because there'd be no weather systems, no grand solar minimums, or no Milankovitch cycles which give us the weather patterns. That's because the flat earth would have twice the size of surface area that our round earth does, which would only give us a third of the sun's energy we currently get, which is nowhere near enough to support life on earth as it is at the moment. Flat earthers will also say if the earth was a globe, why would the water not run off into space? On earth, the emergent gravity vector is towards the center everywhere, whereas for a globe in your house, the gravity vector is towards the floor of your house. This is a poor example used often. They will also claim if gravity is pulling water to the center of the earth, how do fish swim? Fish have a density identical to the surrounding water, same way our dense mass holds us to the earth. When you ask them to explain ships on the horizon, they will say the technology companies are in on it too. Or ask them about aeroplanes above the sun, watching it go down behind the horizon. They have no explanation outside their echo chamber, but they often love to point to the clouds behind the sun, demonstrating they lack the basic perspective and three-dimensional observational skills, and they forget the fact that architects always take the Earth's curvature into consideration when building large-scale projects. But, there's no real image of Earth. The one from the moon is obviously fake, the moon's fake, and we've never been there. The blue marble is fake, and every photo from 1972 until 2014 was photoshopped. The last statement is actually true. They were photoshopped between these periods, but there was no need to photograph the Earth. Then there is the slight problem of lunar eclipses. Many believe that the moon is an illusion or a spotlight responsible for it. On our round Earth, a lunar eclipse happens when the Earth lines up between the Sun and the Moon. If that was the case on a flat Earth, this is how lunar eclipses would look like, and even that would require some special alignment. So if the flat Earth conspiracy turned out to be true, and that our globe, weather and space are all fake, and satellites and GP are all there to trick us into believing this story, well, that would open up Pandora's box to many other conspiracy theories, but unfortunately many people, especially the flat earthers, live in a state of cognitive dissonance, as well as the Dunning-Kruger effect playing havoc on people's egos and intelligence. That's when their thoughts, beliefs and reluctance to research anything outside their accepted beliefs and become inconsistent, and they will reject anything mainstream science and just come up with any old theory to support this idea. They will even reject or make technological excuses for amateur evidence, school or university studies, as well as companies like NASA, SpaceX or Raytheon as fake studio filmings. We are all constantly bombarded on a daily with so much information, and when people stop believing anything in mainstream media, they then go over to the opposite end and believe anything on the internet and conspiracy circle without fully researching. what happens is humanity are herded and goaded into mainstream media narrative and a lot of virtue signaling processes, mind control. We come out of this and then we go straight into the conspiracy side of things, and a lot of people tend to believe anything and everything that comes from the conspiracy side of things, which, to be honest with you, is just as bad. They will go from totally believing everything in the mainstream media over to the totally the opposite extreme of believing anything that comes on the media and that is against the official narrative. Just for the sake of being against the official narrative, people will believe these things, and then as time goes on and throughout the years, people will regurgitate and pass them on as like a Chinese whispers. It just goes on through the line and people embellish it as their own version of the truth,